Did you know 40% of small businesses don't have a continuity plan and 2/5 never reopen after disasters? This isn't just about backups or crisis response, it's about survival. Today we break down the critical differences between crisis management and business continuity planning and why confusing the two could put your business's future at risk. Most entrepreneurs think they're prepared until disaster strikes. But without a clear understanding of how these systems interconnect, you're risking your business's future. If you value practical strategies to protect your company, hit subscribe now. Let's look at how the right systems can make all the difference when it matters most. If you're new here, please subscribe and like because I share tips to help you improve your career. Think of your business operations like a city's infrastructure. Crisis management is similar to the fire department, ready to respond when emergencies break out. Business continuity, on the other hand, is like urban planning, focused on designing systems that help prevent and withstand disasters. Both are essential, but many business owners make the mistake of focusing only on immediate crisis response, leaving their organizations vulnerable in the long term. A 2018 FEMA study found that 75% of companies without business continuity plans fail within 3 years of a major disruption. This stark reality highlights why it's not enough to simply react to emergencies. The organizations that survive are those that proactively build systems to keep essential functions running, even when the unexpected happens. That's where business impact analysis, or BIA, comes in. Rather than just listing potential disasters, BIA maps every critical business function to specific recovery requirements. It prompts questions like, how long can payroll operate without IT support? What's the minimum staff needed to fulfill customer orders? By assigning dollar values to downtime and identifying resource dependencies, BIA creates an objective hierarchy of priorities that guides both immediate and long-term decisions. Consider the example of a logistics company facing a major port strike. Because their BIA had already identified secondary shipping routes and resource needs, they were able to reroute 80% of deliveries, keeping them operational while competitors faced weeks of costly delays. This kind of preparation demonstrates BIA's dual role. It informs crisis teams about which systems need urgent attention and helps continuity planners identify where redundancies or workarounds are most critical. The result is a more resilient organization, one that can weather disruptions and recover faster. What often goes unnoticed is how BIA transforms planning from guesswork to strategy. Instead of preparing for vague scenarios, you're engineering responses to clearly defined risks. This alignment brings together your crisis responders and your continuity architects, setting the stage for a unified approach. But how do both teams actually speak the same language when it comes to threats and vulnerabilities? That's where risk assessment plays its pivotal role. If you're finding this helpful, please subscribe and like because it helps us create content that matters to you. Also, if you want to take your skills further, check out our executive education and executive coaching programs at execbeat.com. Risk is the thread that ties crisis management and business continuity together. Many organizations underestimate its role, often misusing risk assessment as a compliance checkbox rather than an operational tool. The reality is that crisis teams and continuity planners both rely on risk data, but for different reasons. One to prioritize immediate responses, the other to design long-term safeguards. The real vulnerability appears when companies zero in on frequent, low-impact risks, but overlook rare, high-impact threats. This narrow focus can leave critical gaps, such as preparing for minor IT outages while missing the consequences of a complete data center shutdown. A balanced risk assessment framework addresses both types of events. Think of it as a triage system for your business. You don't just treat what's most common, you prioritize what could cause the greatest harm. For instance, a logistics company that regularly reviewed its risks didn't just plan for routine delivery delays, it also identified alternative shipping routes in advance. When a port strike hit, they were able to reroute 80% of their deliveries, staying operational while others stalled. This example shows how evaluating both the likelihood and the impact of threats leads to more robust strategies. Effective risk assessment depends on standardized, consistent measurement. Many organizations use financial impact scales based on EBITDA to compare threats across departments. This approach allows you to rate, for example, a conveyor belt failure as high probability, medium impact, and a ransomware attack as low probability, extreme impact. By applying a uniform scale to both likelihood and impact, you cut through subjective debate and focus on data-driven decisions. The real advantage emerges when risk analysis uncovers dependencies that connect crisis and continuity plans. By mapping out these interdependencies, companies can align their emergency responses with the resources needed for long-term recovery. This integration transforms risk assessment from a routine exercise into a strategic asset. When organizations master this approach, their crisis response and continuity measures reinforce each other, creating a foundation for resilience that stands up to disruption. This kind of synergy is what separates merely reactive businesses from those that truly thrive under pressure. A strong resilience strategy treats crisis management and business continuity as interconnected parts of a single system. The first step is a thorough business impact analysis. By identifying your most critical functions and assessing the impact of disruptions, you set priorities for both immediate response and long-term recovery. Start with a focused workshop. Map out what happens if your payroll system fails and how you would fulfill orders without a key supplier. This targeted approach aligns your crisis protocols with your continuity plans, ensuring resources are used where they matter most. If you found this helpful, give us a like, share how you'll start your own BIA in the comments, and subscribe for more strategic insights. Thanks for watching. Please subscribe and like because it helps us bring you more free videos. And if you're ready to grow your career, visit execbeat.com to learn about our executive education and coaching.